waters have reached temperatures usually expected in August and are on average 2 degrees Celsius warmer than usual. Some coastal areas in England and Wales are 4 to 5 degrees warmer. Surface temperatures in parts of the North Sea are forecast to spike at 4 or 5 degrees above average. The English Channel has already experienced marine heatwave conditions for much of this year and is particularly susceptible to further warming. And the impact on ecosystems and wildlife could be significant. Prolonged periods of unusually warm sea temperatures can damage important habitats like seagrass and kelp, increase the likelihood of harmful algal blooms, and lead to shifts in fish populations. These changes can result in mass mortality events for some marine species. Elevated seawater temperatures can also encourage new species to visit UK waters and establish populations. This potentially could shake up the UK ecosystems and have unintended consequences. The population bloom of common octopus has serious negative consequences for crab and lobster fisheries. The long-term impact is unclear, but scientists warn the effects need to be monitored now. Earlier, I asked Dr. Zoe Jacobs from the National Oceanography Centre what's causing this marine heatwave.
Just like we have heat waves on land, we get them in the ocean as well. So we're just talking about periods of extremely warm sea temperatures compared to normal. So this event in particular is predominantly driven by the atmospheric heat wave. So the high levels of sunshine and the low winds have meant that the ocean is absorbing the heat from the atmosphere, but we're lagging by about 3 to 5 days. And the marine heat wave may actually be also acting to prolong the heat wave on land, as the usual cooler sea breeze that we might experience at night is bringing in much warmer marine air than usual. So they're kind of just exacerbating each other at this point.
And what impact does that have if temperatures for marine wildlife are a couple of degrees higher than they usually would be?
So we're not exactly sure what the impacts of marine heat waves are on our marine ecosystems in the UK, and we're trying to do a lot more research into that at the moment. However, there are some reports of our colder water species like cod and mackerel moving northward as it's too warm for them, which is impacting our fishes. We're also seeing the appearance of warmer water species like tuna more frequently in UK waters, with reports of other species like sunfish or mauve stinger jellyfish, which are quite unusual. We've also had a huge increase in the population of the common octopus, which has already altered the distribution of commercial fish and shellfish. But the main thing that's different about this event this year is that it's occurring later in the year, where we're much closer to the seasonal peak of sea temperatures. So the temperatures are going to be reaching much higher than our ecosystems are used to, which means we may have a greater likelihood of adverse effects as the thermal limits of our native species may be breached and then unable to survive or grow or reproduce effectively.
Can we tell what we're losing at the moment? Will there potentially be extinction events because of this?
There could be. Extinction is quite extreme. It's more likely that some species are going to just move out of range at the moment. It's very unclear. We don't know if these are going to be temporary changes or more permanent. So, as I said, we are currently trying to do a lot more research to try and understand what's going on here, because marine heat waves, even though they are common around the world and we have had them in the UK, they've only started to become more commonplace around the UK in recent years. Given the way it's going, I would expect that to continue. So we do need to start really trying to understand what the impacts are.
As a researcher, are you worried about the pace of this?
Yes, I think so. The first kind of major impactful event was around the UK was in June 2023, and then to have another large one last year, and this year potentially we're actually going to potentially go into extreme marine heatwave conditions, which is very unusual for the UK. If this keeps happening year on year, it is quite concerning.
You look at other nations and you look at global sea temperatures. Often when we do these climate changes stories, it can feel quite fatalistic. So I wonder, what else can we learn from other nations that they've done to adapt to warmer waters?
Yeah, that's exactly it. What we really do need to do is start learning from other countries like Australia, for example, who have experienced these kinds of events much more frequently in the past, to understand what the potential impacts may be that are going to start occurring in UK waters, so that we can adapt as these events do seem to be becoming a lot more regular. And as I've said, I'm imagining that's going to set to continue. So What we really need to do is increase our long-term monitoring of everything in our waters so that we can understand what is happening before, during, and after a marine heat wave to fully understand what their impacts are, if they're temporary or if they are permanent. We don't know at the moment.
Dr. Zoe Jacobs, thank you very much indeed. Thank you.